Welcome to Project Pack 2, Day 3 of the 12 Days of Zentangle. I'm Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and today on this tile, we're going to teach you a new tangle called rumpus. This I've been working on for a long time and trying to figure out a way to teach it easily, and I think I came up with something. We're going to use a Micron PN, I'm sorry, and we're going to start right away by drawing some little orbs sprinkled around. I put a bigger one in the middle so that you kind of always focus on this one eventually. But like 5 circles around that, and then a few around there, some smaller ones. I'm not sure if it makes that much of a difference, but next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding some petal shapes, like a daisy petal kind of thing. And we're going to go from orb to orb, and we're going to put like a little light line on. If you watch me sort of skim through the middle there, I want that to be sort of lighter, like has a little bit of a character to it.
And there's also a nice difference in pressure on the outer strokes too. So this pen is pretty neat in being able to use different pressures and thicknesses of line.
Yeah, we've been enjoying using the PN on this project, and it has a lot of really good characteristics. So you can see this is building into almost like a flower of life, which is kind of cool. We didn't really meter it out like that, but that's what it looks like on this particular one.
And if you need more little orbs, or if you want more little orbs, well, just put them in.
Add them in as you're
Yeah.
going along. I like to think that there are no mistakes, and that you can sort of adjust your drawing as you go along. So you can see it's going to end up a little bit of a circular shape, not quite, but you can see my wiggly lines. My hands are a little shaky. But it'll all work out.
Yeah, I think this is actually really cool to see the individual lines and how, when the end result is done, how it has a totally different look.
So now we're going to start putting a curved petal to the left of each of the ones that we're seeing now. So you can see it's going to sort of curve out, like sort of arc out a little bit to the left of each of these petals. And again, we're going to put a little pen stroke in there. I don't know if I do it right away, but I eventually do it.
And part of the reason for that pen stroke is in the development of the tangle, it was important to know what was the positive and negative space as you were working with this, and it just made it a little easier to keep track of.
Right, you could see the petal and the background a little easier. This was a fun project. I think that they came out really good, and the idea that I had to sit and go through this over and over to find how to make it a tangle. So the tangles have to be fairly easy to teach, and have some little bit of rules to them, but not really rules, but guidelines.
At least enough rules that you can know when to break them and know what you're doing. So.
And then the cool thing about rumpus is that it becomes so I don't want to say complicated, but so intense here that it doesn't really matter if you get them in the exact same step, you know.
So you'll notice now that using a drawing behind or hollowbar technique, Maria's putting in some of those petals pretty often to the left now of the centerpieces, but not always.
Yep. So now it looks like I'm going to start going to the right, and each time we go to the right, of course, we get to go under, or hollowbar under the other petals, and this is what's going to make this tangle sing. It's that in and out and wondering, where are these petals going? That's so cool. So you're seeing this in real time. There's no speeding up or anything. We like you to know that it doesn't take hours and hours and hours to do this. We sometimes skip over real repetitive things, but we don't speed up the film.
And now you'll see like she's looking at individual spaces and, well, does this need another petal, or shall I leave that with two? Does it want three? Does it? So you can approach it very mechanically, or you can approach it, well, this shape is a little smaller or bigger, and what do I want to do with it, or leave it as it is.
So you can see how that center line really helps visualize where things are going. But I think once you get to know this tangle and real up close and personal, you might not need to have that center line. You might choose not to do it.
That's really cool.
So now I'm adding some puffy petals here to the outer sections here, just to give it a little bit of a different shape instead of just the roundness.
And to draw on the border too,
Yeah, yeah.
or past the border. It was very cool. So why is it called rumpus?
Rumpus, it's called rumpus because Indiana, our granddaughter, came to us recently and said, Meme, Ricky, the next tangle you do should be called rumpus. And I thought, why? And she says, I like the word. So now what I'm doing here is filling in the background. Now, on some of these, I just filled them in with black. But I thought that this would be kind of a cool way and a little bit less time consuming than just filling in with a solid color. So we're putting these perfs in, and they sort of fall behind one another, like when we're doing perk. And it has this really gorgeous feeling to it.
Like really nestled in there like peas in a pod.
And it actually goes pretty quickly. And it's a really nice meditation. So give it a try. You can see how pretty it is. Look at that. Not a lot of effort. I like it. So now we're going to try something a little new, just to kind of push you into another direction. We're going to pick up our micron, the brown micron, and I'm going to show you a little bit before we go to the tile, just to give you an idea of what we're doing. So we'll do it a little bigger here so you can see. But what we're going to do with this brown pen is we're going to do what we're calling enthatching. And we're going to start near the edge of the petal and then just lightly kind of thatch your way down, always going to the middle, and that middle will get darker for it. See that? Look at that beautiful...
So starting with more pressure, and then as you come away, lifting the pen up like it's just flying off the paper. Then.
Like it's feathering out. And it's a really nice way to add color and dimension to a tile, a little bit differently than adding graphite every time. So we're going to sit there, we're going to do this on every one of the petals, and it's such a nice way to add color and interest to the tangle. I really enjoyed doing this. Look how it radiates. Isn't it beautiful?
Great effect.
And still we're using our same old tools. They can do so many things. I love that. So we're going to, I darkened those center pieces. They almost look like Dutch buttons. I didn't have the camera rolling when I did that, but I think you can figure that out. You can enlarge it.
Yeah, I think you've done it on another one of the other videos.
Right. So I'm going around with a graphite pencil, adding some darkness in where they go and meet, and then adding some graphite, maybe to the right of the perfs, just to give them a little character. And then go in with the tortillon and do your magic wand act. I love this.
This looks like one of those wonderful toys. I just want to
I
like
know.
bounce it off the floor and see
Or
which
like it
way
would
it
stick to the
bounces.
wall
And
or
yeah,
something.
I
Yeah,
love, that's awesome.
I love that.
So you notice the impact that the tortillon has when it blends all of that graphite and just adds a great texture and works together with that in thatching.
So you can do this tile, this tangle rumpus smaller, but I wanted to have it big enough so that you could really see what I was doing. But feel free to make it smaller on your tiles. Adding my chop, and you can see I haven't really figured out what chop I like best yet. I kind of researching it every time I do a new tile, do something a little different. And I feel like when I find my perfect chop, that's when you'll see it all the time.
Or that'll be the last time you do it and you'll do
Yeah,
another one.
yeah. How fun. Look at that. It's just really pretty. So I'm signing my tile here because the kids have been after me because I sometimes forget to sign and date my tiles. And so I'm trying to get used to doing it every time. And also to give you some spelling and a little more information about that.
The name of the tangle
and thatching.
and you can also see in the upper left by the logo there that sort of like those lines, that is the watermark for this paper. So every now and then you may be lucky and get a tile with a watermark on it.
There's only one for every 22 by 28 inch sheet.
Right, right.
It's one in the corner, and I do most of my tiles on watermarked pieces. How cool
So
is
that came
this?
out really nice. And then here's a couple more examples just to inspire you.
So this is the first one I did, and you can see that I colored in the background, and I didn't put that center line in, so you can see how maybe it might get a little complicated without that. And this one here doesn't have anything in the background, and still it's just lovely. And I used a red chalk pencil to do that. Here's a little more in thatching on another tile, so you can see how it can fit in different places. It would go in, into a crevice and then out again in a nice, even way.
So we look forward to seeing what you create. And these are the hashtags that we're using. And we will see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.